Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Serpent's Path Conversations, the stories about transitions, transformations, transmutations, and life in general. A very, very, very warm welcome to Antimo Magnotta. Did I pronounce it well? Magnotta?
Magnotta. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the Serpent's Path Conversations. Antimo is a musician, a pianist, shall I say, author of the book. Is it just one book?
Well, actually, it's three books so far. Yeah.
It's 3 books so far, yes. And you're sharing the life between London and Liverpool. Antimo's story is about how the trauma reshapes our lives and the story of a courage and survival instinct that saved Antimo's and other people's lives. Over to you, Antimo. How would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you very much for having me. It's just a pleasure. So my name is Antimo Magnotta. I'm Italian, but I live in the UK. At the moment, I am in Liverpool, and I used to live in London for more than 10 years. Just moved to the north. Basically, I'm a pianist, composer, and author, and I do a lot of So I try to keep myself busy, but mostly I'm creating stuff that prior to any kind of judgment is good for me. It's good for me. It's good for me. It's good for my heart. And it's good for my life.
Great. Thank you so much. It's good for my heart. I like that. It's good for my heart and it's good for my life. When it's good for your heart, it must be good for your life. That's it. We don't need anything else, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay. Can you tell me, I read your book and I can still smell the bread of your mom's bread. So I would like to try that bread one day, maybe. In Italy, when I'm around in Italy, you have to give me the address. Can you tell us how was it growing up in Italy for you? How was your early years? How did you discover the music, the vast world of music?
Well, this was quite a surprise for my family. I'm the eldest of 4 kids, and I'm a son of a former bus driver and a baker. Probably for me, the most talented baker in the world. Over 70, she's still working as a baker, so she still wakes up in the middle of the night, and she bakes a fabulous bread. And yeah, I was born in the 70s, and there were no distractions like today. There was no internet, there was no cell phones. So my childhood was a very simple one, made of a pure entertainment for us, which was mostly playing football down the street. Sometimes it was just spending long afternoons with my cousins. I grew up in a building made of 3 families: my father's, his brother, and his sister, and we were 11 boys, 11 cousins. Can you believe it?
Amazing. That's how it should be. Living in a community, proper growing up.
It was a community, absolutely. It was a tribe, 11 cousins. So
would you say you had a happy childhood?
I was a very happy child, a bit shy, but at the beginning. And actually, this was something that triggered my curiosity because more than I was quite interested, as I had some kind of troubles with my vision, with my eyesight.
Yeah.
So this made me kind of being and become more reflective and more interested. And all of a sudden, I remember, or maybe I was told the story that when I was between 5 and 6, I was watching a TV show, and there was a gentleman playing the piano, I actually was doing something that totally hypnotized me. So I asked my father, "Could you please tell me what this gentleman is doing? This is like a dream to me. This is called the piano. This gentleman is playing the piano." And I was totally bewildered and hypnotized by the music produced by this black long piece of furniture. So out of curiosity, I asked my parents. I very instinctively I said, I asked my parents, could you please facilitate this? Could you please help me understand a bit more about the piano? So they took me to the local
I
teacher.
wanted this.
Very simple, like a toy. And so they took me to the local teacher, and my parents they would be caught by surprise actually, because as a result, I I discovered something that it was just unfolding before my eyes, a new word, something that I could produce with my hands. So the local teacher strongly encouraged my parents to carry on with the piano lessons. And so I started my journey, my adventure with the piano at the age of 6. This was
Beautiful.
also a surprise for my cousins because I
Yes.
started being less in the street and
Yes.
more on the piano.
Yes. You just reminded me of this the story in your book that was it your grandmother that was protecting the area from from them entering the room because you were playing it, so you cannot be distracted because you had to practice,
Yeah,
and
it was.
they wanted to play, etc. So that's very, you have to have a very strong self-esteem at that, especially at that age, to actually say no to the to fun and to play and to actually practice, right? So that kind of also maybe shows your determination of being so fascinated by
Yeah,
that instrument.
but you see, it was never imposed. I was never obliged or under pressure when he came to practice my piano. It was just a spontaneous, um, actually thing that I would do. It was just entertaining. So what I reported in my book is actually like a journal. I write as I was writing, entering, some information into a journal. And this is absolutely true that I became a pianist just because my grandmother would stand guard and let me have a broom to keep my cousins away from disturbing my practice, because we lived at the this flat, and this flat was on the ground floor, and this studio where the room.
Everyone could enter. Anyone could
Absolutely.
enter through the window, not just through the door.
Just knocking on the window and make themselves visible to me. So just mimicking. Are you done with this practicing? We were waiting for you, and then showing the ball is waiting for you. And all of a sudden, in a very southern Italian fashion, my grandmother would just come around the corner brandishing a broom and just yelling at them, "Stay away from my nephew because he needs to practice the piano." Now this reminds me of some Fellini movies.
Movies,
And
yeah.
if I answer your question, if I want to answer your question, this will be the response. I lived my childhood like it was in a movie.
Was in the movie. What's the sounds that you can you play something? Can you remember some your first songs or sounds that you remember from that period that you learned to play when you were just
Well,
entering
yeah,
the world?
my first piano sonata. Well, it's a very clever, a very interesting question. I remember I learned a Mozart sonata, and
Can we have a little sample of it?
yeah, I still remember it. Can you hear my piano?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
so this
breaking a
was,
little bit, but it's hearable.
yeah, all right. So this was, I remember, this was my first sonata officially performed in a concert when I was, I think, around 6 years and a half old, almost 7 years old. Yeah,
Mm.
this was just the beginning. I don't remember. I don't remember it by heart because I mean almost 50 years old, 50 years back. So yeah, I remember I was very much into classical music. I started as a classical pianist, of course, learning all the sonatas from Mozart, Beethoven, Clementi, Scarlatti. Yeah, this was my journey as a little pianist for the joy
Yes.
of
So music and art. I also remember you mentioned Giacometti. Did I say well? Giacometti, the sculptor, famous Italian sculptor with the very skinny, sculptures of
yes.
humans. I think this is you describing one of your piano teachers this way, or someone in
Well,
was that
not
your
exactly. Giacometti is mentioned in I think, at the very beginning of the book, where actually was my first eye doctor, as I mentioned
I,
before.
that's right. That's right. I doctor, not the teacher. Yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Ophthalmologist, an eminent professor at the University of Naples, and this gentleman, this eminent doctor, a very important one, was a very skilled. I just remember I could barely.
When you mentioned Giacometti, I was like, I knew exactly how he looked like because I love the sculptures, and Tate Modern's got plenty of it.
Later on in my, I mean, over time, when I discovered Giacometti for the first time, I was quite young. I mean, in my school years, I think I was in secondary school, maybe as a teenager. For the first time, I bumped into a Giacometti little statue figures. I immediately connected this with my first professor, Professor Mario Esposito from Napoli. So this is the reason why I connected, because it was absolutely a very faithful reproduction of a Giacometti statue.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
can see it. I can see it
Yeah.
now. Okay. How was your musical journey going from there? I remember in the book you mentioned you've tried to get into the very, very famous New York music school, but did not really ended up the way I guess you wanted and everyone really wanted. But it was a journey in itself as well, I guess.
Yeah, a very ambitious goal I set for myself. Actually, after the graduation from the Academy of Music, I wanted, because meantime, from my early age to my graduation, of course, I mean, this period was filled up with a lot of memories for me and very important chapters of my life. So I grew up and I started believing that this was going to be my future, my life, because it started as a game, of course, and I was curious, and music was a way of expressing myself, as I mentioned before. When I was a little kid, I was quite shy because I was a bit insecure. My vision, my eyesight was not so good. So I found a way of expressing myself and seeing something I couldn't see in real life. Then, of course, my eyesight improved, but nevertheless, I was already into music. And when I graduated very successfully from the Academy of Music, I set a very ambitious goal for myself, for my life, and my career. That was the Juilliard School of Music, so a master in piano at the Juilliard School of Music in New York, one of the most important schools in the world for music. So I did my audition, and the audition was quite successful. But at that time, unfortunately, there was no scholarship. And I still remember that. I'm talking about, we were around 1992, probably between 1992 and 1994. A semester would have cost me, my family, around $26,000. So quite expensive,
A
quite
lot of money.
unaffordable.
It's a lot
So
of
I was
money.
very much disappointed. But I say, this is not the end. This is not the end of the world, not the end of my life as a pianist. So I had to confess that this had to be switched into something different.
Yeah.
So I had to change direction. The
Mhm.
Juilliard was not for me anymore, because it was quite unachievable. I would say
Yeah.
unaffordable, and maybe affordable, and I would have found something equally interesting in my life. I was ready. I was ready for anything.
So how does that change the direction? How did that reshape your ambitious plan of becoming musician? Did you still become
In a
a musician you wanted to be?
no. But this changed. Of course, as a musician, you have a kind of a career path,
Yeah.
direction.
Mhm.
And so, if you know that, if you want to follow this path, you know that you need to go through a graduation, maybe some kind of master, and then you start covering your skill set with the concerts and practice, and maybe changing different teachers and blah blah blah,
Mhm.
master class, workshops, and the likes of this kind of activity. But little did I know that something was waiting for me, a totally unexpected and unpredictable chapter. And I was kind of on the edge of a nervous breakdown, because I started as a solo concert pianist, but it was not so easy to make a living as a concert pianist, because it's a very tough industry, and there's a lot of competition. So on a dark winter night, I received a phone call from my fellow musician, my friend from the Academy of Music, and he was just informing me that very shortly I would have received a phone call for someone else in looking for a pianist to embark on a cruise ship. So can you believe, it was a total, it was just a turning of,
Redirection.
it was
U-turn.
totally different direction, as I felt like I lost my compass. This is something that I could only dream of. One of my childhood dreams was learning languages, playing the piano, and traveling the world. So, and all of a sudden, I realized that this was kind of the sign of destiny or something, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So I received this phone call from someone looking for a pianist to embark on a cruise ship. And of course, I was ready for this new adventure. I was young, full of energy, and
How old were you there? When was that?
it was right after my graduation, so about some years later, like 2 or 3 years later. So I was in my between 20 and 24, and so this person was looking for a pianist. I did the audition. The audition was
Mhm.
successful. And all of a sudden, I found myself on a cruise ship playing the piano.
So on the cruise ship. So you're jumping on the cruise ship, you cruising the world, visiting all these beautiful places, learning languages because there is so many clientele from the different countries, having quite exclusive life, I believe, right? Being on a ship, you always have this beautiful restaurants and the
It's true.
rooms. So that must have been interesting journey for you there.
As I
What
say,
would
this
you
was
what would you normally play on the what would you normally play on the cruise ships? What would be the
repertoire.
music?
Yeah. Well, mostly a little bit of everything. A bit of classical music, a little bit of jazz, or movie soundtracks, Latin American evergreen songs. I learned how to play new stuff, something that I was not so familiar with, like pop music, rock music. But I was, I mean, some years before, I was just, how do you say, I just achieved one of my pinnacle of my career, which is a graduation. So I couldn't be scared of any kind of repertoire. I was ready and able to read everything and play and perform because I was,
Yeah.
I was dealing with the most difficult repertoire from Rachmaninoff to Chopin, from Szymanowski to Rossini, Mozart, whatever. So I say, what could be wrong in this? I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't be wrong. I couldn't go wrong.
There's nothing that will surprise you music wise.
Absolutely, absolutely not. And I was very eager to learn new things. And I discovered so many beautiful, beautiful pieces and new music, especially from South America, from Argentina. So Astor Piazzolla's tango, a lot of beautiful jazz music, music from Brazil, music from Greece, music from Israel, music from Scandinavia, from Morocco. I mean, I was in a totally different environment.
Yes.
It was not a stage. It was
Sounds like a dream. Did you enjoy your job? Did you enjoy your work? Was that
absolutely.
fulfilling? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was. This was, as I say, this was the crowning of my childhood dreams. Because all I wanted to achieve was just these three things. I wanted to do three things: learning the language, playing the piano, and traveling of the world. And I was doing these three things in one
From
beautiful
one
and
space. Yes.
in, in
Yes.
one shot actually. So I was just jumping from joy, and of course it's not so there are that side.
So how many languages do you speak now?
Well, I learned of course my native language is Italian, of course, and I also speak Napolitan, which is a special language. I speak in Napoli. And then I learned to speak English. Never studied English in my life. I speak a bit of French. I speak Spanish. I understand a bit of Portuguese.
That's good enough for me.
But you learn this curiosity because on the ship there is a representation of nearly 60 nationalities. And I've
Yes.
been always a curious person, so willing to communicate with other people. So you just pick the words and the language over time. And if you pay attention, you can get by. You can just build up a meaningful conversation. I mean, you can engage in a conversation and be confident about your tiny vocabulary, and then over time, my vocabulary would just expand as I was traveling over time. See,
Understood.
so
And
I was a very lucky. I've been very lucky.
can you tell us what happened in 13 January 2012?
Yes, of course.
So you're in the playroom, you're playing the music, and then something starting to happen.
Yeah. Well, in 2012, I was embarked as a board pianist on this huge, massive, majestic cruise ship, the Costa Concordia, and I was a resident pianist performing my piano show on board. And it was a typical atmosphere, and I was fully immersed in my beautiful routine as a pianist. So the environment was very familiar. I mean, it was an environment that I used. So well dressed people, very fancy restaurants, and I mean it's a beautiful environment. So I started my piano show. I remember it was 9:30 p.m. and I was playing this beautiful place called the Bar View, very sophisticated, elegant bar. We had just left the port of Rome called Civitavecchia, and we were on a 7 days cruise around the West Mediterranean. So we left at around a quarter past 7-ish, and we were heading northwest to Savona, Italy, and then we would have continued from Savona to
Around.
around the West Mediterranean, touching some very important, very nice ports of call in the Western Mediterranean. It was a quite familiar route to me as a cruise, as a member of staff, as an onboard musician. You stay on the ship for an average time of 4 to 6 months sometimes. So some routes they become quite a routine, you know. So I knew this route by heart because I did this many times. So the weather conditions were ideal for navigation. It was a very nice starry night, a typical Italian night, very clear. The sea was calm, and there was a very good visibility, and everyone was happy. So I started my
We're talking about evening, right? 9:30, 9:45 in the evening. It's the night time.
It was 9:30 p.m.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I started my piano show at 9:30 p.m. And I started playing I started improvising on the piano, and then I was very connected to the environment, very much inspired because I had the fortune of having the portal, which is the window through which you can just enjoy the landscape. So you can just admire, the sunset and the starry night. And probably it was something that I was very much looking at. More than playing the piano, I just love to be there, playing the piano and looking through the window to see, the marvels, ocean, and the sky and everything. So I was very much inspired. I started with the improvisation. I like improvising most of the time, and to me, improvising is kind of portraying something in the moment. So I was very relaxed. The sea was very calm, and all of a sudden, I felt a sudden tilt of the ship. So all of a sudden, the ship bent one side to the left, and I fell off my chair, and the piano started moving on the stage, like drifting. And of course, everyone was caught by surprise. I was caught by surprise because this normally happens when you have a stormy weather.
Mhm.
So you expect this when you see big waves or maybe a strong wind. You can feel that the ship, even though it's a massive ship, is moving and is just dancing on waves. But that night, there were no elements to justify this kind of maneuver. It was very dramatic. So everyone,
How was the people behaving on the floor, or on the restaurant people?
well, of course, everyone started scattering all around, and some passengers, they came to me to ask if I knew anything about this, because normally, as a crew member, as a member of staff, we need to wear a name tag. So there's my position, name, my surname, and my position on the ship. In this case, Antimo Magnotta, pianist, right? Because I'm a staff member.
Yeah.
And we are normally all members working on cruise ships, all staff on cruise ships. We are very well trained about talking to people and informing them about the situation. Even if it's something that you need to, even if it's something that you don't know, it would be much better to calm them and ask them to be patient, because any information would be given through the loudspeakers. So this is what I did,
Mhm.
because most of the time, panic.
Did that happen for you there? Did you receive any information through the speaker on that day, on that
No,
night?
no, no. Well, I'm talking about the PA system. PA system is a public
Yeah.
system, so everyone can hear. Everyone can
Mhm.
listen to the voice of the captain or any officers from the bridge.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I would have expected someone from the bridge to inform the 4,350 people on the ship about the situation. So what I did was just talking to people as much as I could to just keep them quiet. Because of
Mhm.
course it goes
So
without saying.
I understand you haven't received that sort of
No,
announcement or anything. There was no information passed to
no,
anybody on that
no.
night.
All staff members, they are very well trained to understand the codes, because when something happens in open waters and it's for the staff, you can just understand the kind of emergency, if there is an emergency,
Yeah.
just interpreting the codes. I mean,
Mhm.
by law, no,
Yeah.
it's never it will be never possible
Mhm.
to communicate
So
straightforward.
at which point did you start to realize that something is not okay? When
Because of the
was that?
silence. Because of the silence, there was no announcement. And in this case, we are very well aware that if
Mm.
there is a problem, communication will happen in maybe a minute or so,
Yeah.
maybe less. It depends. You might
So
have a
what did
case.
you do? What happened next?
Well, in this case, I left the room and I reached the central part of the central area of the ship, which is supposedly the most balanced one, because the most difficult thing to do was just walking.
Yeah.
Because of the angle of the ship was tilting.
Mhm.
Most difficult thing was walking. In this
Mhm.
case, I knew that, and I was suggesting passengers unaware of the situation to get to the center of the ship, which is
Mhm.
supposed to be the most balanced one.
Mhm.
And whenever I would just bump into passengers, kids and elderlies, I would suggest them just to get to the center of the ship.
Mhm.
And so we found ourselves gathered around this huge dance floor called
Mhm.
Bar Berlin. Every
Mhm.
room of every bar and restaurant of the Costa Concordia was named after an European capital.
Mhm.
So I was working in the Bar Vienna, and in the center of the ship there was this Bar Berlin, and that was the huge, I mean, the biggest area of the ship on deck five.
Mhm.
Deck five, the fifth floor, was the one with the bars, dance floors, entertainment, casinos,
Mhm.
jazz clubs, and everything. Shops,
Mhm.
because you
Mhm.
have different decks, different
Different, yeah.
floors. Halfway through, the Costa Concordia was made up of, if I'm not mistaken, around 16 decks. Almost halfway through, you find on most of the ships, you find the main deck where all the people gather all together. The
Mhm.
rest of the ship is cabins, passengers' cabins, the crew members' areas, bridge, gym, swimming pools, spa, etc. Right? But there is one deck in particular where you have the concentration of the majority of restaurants, clubs, casinos, discos, and everything. So we
Mhm.
were on deck five, and I asked everyone to gather around the bar Berlin. Meantime, we experienced several blackouts, but meantime, there was no announcement from the loudspeakers. So I personally
Mhm.
was starting
So
to
what was
hear,
happening for you? What was happening for you then? What did you start to realize at that
well,
moment
honestly,
where
to be
when
honest,
you hear
there
no
was,
announcement and the light is gone, there's a darkness, there is a noise or
well,
silence, we should say.
I had some kind of mixed emotions because we had over time I experienced many occasions some kind of difficulties in open waters, like stormy weather, very rough weather, very windy conditions. But this was totally unexpected and was very new to me because the sea was still very calm. And I realized that there were two elements that made me understand that there was something that was not explained yet. One was big mountain. I realized it was a mountain just because it had the shape of a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
On that route, from the port of Rome to the port of Savona, so northwest, I knew by heart that there would have been nothing, just open waters. Unless you are navigating very close to the coast, you don't see any islands, you don't see islands, you don't see mountains, you don't see volcanoes. For instance, if you say very close to Napoli, you can see the shape of Capri, the island, from a distance. Or if you are very close to Sicily, you can see the shape of one of the most beautiful islands, it's called Volcano, Stromboli, which has the shape of a volcano. But from far away, when we would sail from the port of Rome towards northwest, there was no absolutely obstacles, no nothing. It was just water, and the horizon would have been just flat, nothing. So, what is this mountain? Why are we so close to this kind of mountain shape? This was the first cue. The second one was that I had reception on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I used to bring up my cell phone with me, not because I wanted to check messages or internet or whatever. This was not allowed, but just because at that time I didn't like having watches on me. I had to know the time of my performance, so I was just timing. This is the reason why I had my phone with me. And strangely, I had reception on the phone, and this had never happened before. Because when you leave the port of Rome and you sail northwest.
So what is that information in this piece of what does that give you, the fact that you actually have the reception? What does that mean
Means
to
that
you?
we are very close to land.
Right. Okay.
And we were not supposed to be close to the land. We were supposed to be in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea.
Mm-hmm.
So my question as a crew member, because I paid attention to this, because over time you learn, and then you familiarize with the landscapes, horizons. If I see a mountain, maybe if I see the shape of, if I'm approaching Napoli, I'm expecting, maybe not everyone knows that I'm expecting some kind of shapes from far away, the land,
Yeah.
kind of emerging from the water. So you quite confident about where you are. But this comes over time because I spent nearly 17 years of my life on cruise ships. So the reason why I noticed that there was reception on my phone had just one justification. We were very close to the land, and this was not supposed to be the route.
So what happens next? Kind of, there is the blackout that you're trying to make your way out. What you're doing next?
Well,
when
actually,
you realize that something is going on, something is not okay.
Yeah. It was not only a blackout. We experienced several power failures.
Yeah, okay.
And there was no announcement. Only one announcement from the bridge or two, and it was just a code sent because they have some wounded passengers. So I understood the code. As I said before, you are never supposed to be saying there is a wounded person.
Yeah, I understand. So there is some specific way you communicate. Yeah.
Is just derailing your attention to avoid panic. Because if I say there is a man at sea, people, just to let you know, if there is a code to address some kind of issues, fire, leaking of water, a man at sea, a bomb, or any kind of or a general emergency. General emergency is the official um, signal launched through the loudspeakers, and it's made of 7 short sounds and 1 long. When you hear these 7 short sounds and 1 long, you need to perform something. You need to reach your so-called master station. So when finally this signal was launched through the loudspeakers, I did what I was supposed to be doing. So I reached my safety position, and the passengers, they perform the same. For passengers, it's very easy. In case of emergency, you are instructed to be reaching your so-called master station. Could be master station A or master station B. And these, as soon as you board the ship as a passenger, because this is written on your door. So behind your door, in case of emergency, you need to reach master station A or B. For staff members, it's a bit more complicated, but we are trained to do this because we have a safety book. So in this case, when I heard the 7 short sounds and 1 long, I had some kind of obligation. So I had to do something. Which I did actually. So I reached my safety position, so-called master station, and I was in charge of a roll call. A roll call is a call for 25 people, my fellow crew members, to embark rescue. So I have some kind of duties. So no matter if you are a pianist, dancer, a priest, an officer, or a bartender, you need to perform some duties, stuff, which was something that I did. So I fulfilled my duties, and I called 24 names when I reached my master station. I found the papers, I knew where the paper was. I pulled out the paper and I started calling. So this duty is completed when everyone has signed the paper. So I give this paper to the authority coming from the bridge, and this officer will take myself and my 25 people on a rescue. And we eventually abandoned the ship. This never happened. Because I did what I was supposed to be doing. I called 25 people, 4 were missing. And at this stage, I would have expected someone from the bridge to come and pick myself and my 25.
Why this has not happened for you? Why the rescue boat did not happen for you or the rest of the crew?
Well, I would have expected some officers, the security officers, to come because I can't perform. I can't take 25 people on the rescue, but this is not my duty. You have a duty because I don't know how to manage an evacuation from here.
So what happened for you next? What happened for you next there?
And this is a turning point, actually, a crucial point, because I would have expected an officer to come from the bridge and perform his duties. This never happened. So my people and myself, actually, we started scattering all around because I bumped into an officer. He was not from the bridge. He was an electrician, which is an officer. And for the first time, I heard the word, which I heard the word changed the direction of my day, let's say, maybe my life. So I grabbed by the hand. I recognized this gentleman because of the star of his uniform.
Yes.
So he was running, and I stopped because everyone was getting very upset and nervous and anxious. We were waiting, but no one turned up. So I bumped into this guy. He was just walking past the group of people where I was. I grabbed him by the arm and I asked him, "Sorry, could you give some explanation? I'm waiting from the I'm waiting for the office to come and pick myself and my fellow staff members, and we need to evacuate the ship. Could you please tell me what's going on? Because I didn't know anything."
Mm-hmm.
So he whispered in my ear and he said, "Don't you know? You are on a shipwreck and you
Mm-hmm.
better run for your life.
Okay.
There will be no one coming to save you. You need to evacuate the ship as soon as you can."
Yeah.
Of course, this
Antimo,
changed.
tell me how alive this is still within you. What's going on in your body now when you're telling me the story? What do you
Well, of
feel?
course, this matter of like remembering all this makes me running on adrenaline a little bit
Yeah.
because I'm reliving that
Really?
moment, and
Hmm.
it was not a moment of quietness and relaxation,
Where's
of
that?
course.
Do you have any tension in your body? Where's that tension in your body?
Well, it's spread all around, but at this stage, I can't control it. I can't control this. It's just a now. It's just a memory, and
Mm.
it's not triggering. It's triggering some kind of strange emotions, mixed emotions. But I know
What's the emotions there?
the emotion is a bit of rage because of the disappointment I felt
Disappointment. Yeah.
when I had no one coming to rescue me and my
Yeah.
people. And this was not my duty actually. I did what I was supposed to be doing.
It wasn't your responsibility, but you
It
still
was not my
felt like
responsibility to have killed people. I don't know how to because all rescue boats they are suspended on
yeah.
cranes, and you need to have some technical knowledge to maneuver all this. I could kill people.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to be doing this. This is not my duty. When I learned that from the bridge everyone was just evacuating, was abandoning the ship, the people who were supposed to be coming downstairs, everyone,
Yeah.
they never came. This is the disappointment and the rage I had. I'm
Yeah.
having, I'm reliving, kind of
Mm.
refreshing the emotion, because I I didn't really know where these people was,
Yeah.
where they were actually.
Yeah. So what was your next step? What was your next
Well,
step
my
there when
next
you
step
learned
was
that?
that meantime the ship was still gradually
Tilting.
bending,
Yeah. Yeah.
tilting on one side until it was extremely difficult to walk. So for the first time, I felt that this was not a joke, and this was a shipwreck. I had never experienced a shipwreck in my life, actually. So at that stage, everyone was screaming, shouting, and scattering all around. So the protocol we were so attentively following had to be disregarded. So no one would care less about the duties anymore
Yeah.
because there were
Yeah.
no duties to follow anymore. And so we started scattering all around, and I started climbing on some uh, metallic part of the ship
Mm-hmm.
until I reached a broken window,
Mm-hmm.
but very slowly because the most difficult thing to do at that time was just walk.
I can imagine because the wall became a floor and then you also don't have anywhere to kind of hold yourself against. So I can
Yeah, yeah,
understand. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I found a broken window, and through that window, I managed to go through and then find myself eventually on the external side of the ship, facing the water. So I found
Yes.
a loose cable
Mm-hmm.
hanging from a tree, and I would hold tight
Mm-hmm.
to this
Mm-hmm.
cable and
So
starting.
you're wearing a life jacket, right?
I was wearing my
Yeah, you're
orange.
all wearing a life jacket. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so this was the kind of action I took because we had to take some action. There was no
Yeah.
rescue boat to be. And actually, since I knew that my rescue boat was on one side of the ship, on the left side of the ship was already underwater. So I
Yes.
was pretty much hopeless because my rescue boat, because
We're on.
as a staff member, you know where your rescue boat is. You cannot go on your rescue boat until someone takes you there, right? This is the duty. This is the
So
rule.
how many people ended up on that side of that
very few people. I'm talking
Very
about
few people.
30 out of 4,300 people and more than 4,300 people. Only very few, because you had to be very strong. So I'm not expecting this to be performed by an old man.
Elder people.
There were people on wheelchairs as well. There were kids, there were families. But most of the passengers, they were assisted by other crew members. I was on a very unfortunate side of the ship, because the very beginning in the rescue operation were quite successful. But I cannot jump as a crew member. There were rescue boats at the very beginning of the emergency.
Yeah.
So they managed to evacuate the ship. But I was a member of staff, so I'm not supposed to be doing this. I need to wait, give priority.
Yes, you were following the
rules, yeah.
instructions, the rules, yeah, and the protocol. I understand.
So,
How long you were there out on that side of that ship waiting to be?
It took more than 6 hours.
It took more than 6 hours.
He was rescued.
And how did that happen that you actually get rescued?
Yeah. Because of an helicopter. Got a fix on me, so they saw me and a bunch of people along with me. And they could not rescue us because it was very difficult for the plane, to come very close to rescue us. So because it was pitch dark, it was very dark. So they eventually sent a small rescue boat very close to the ship, under the belly of the ship, because the ship at this point was capsized, upside down. So we were on the side of the ship and very close to the water, holding tight a cable, a wire. So what I did was just jumping on this little rescue boat, and eventually I was taken on the mainland around 3 o'clock in the morning.
Can you remember what was your thought? And it's 6 hours. So what was happening in your head back then? What was your thought?
It's not so easy to list all the emotions, because of course I had mixed emotions. I thought this was probably a joke, a big joke. I thought all of a sudden, I've been so many years on cruise ships. This is not the place where things happen. Yes, this is a place meant to be for entertaining.
When this was finally happening, you were running for your life. What was happening back then in your head? What was going on for you there?
Yeah, of course. I say to myself, I can't die. This is not fair. Of course, it's obvious. It sounds cheesy, but no one was to die. And I remember a funny episode. Actually, there was a French passenger on my side, the lady, on her 50 something. And she asked me something in French. I understand French. So we were just waiting for some rescue on the side of the ship in a very clumsy, position. It was quite grotesque, And she asked me in French, "Est-ce que vous avez un briquet? Do you have a lighter?" I say to myself, This is very funny. Do you think I have a lighter in this condition, in this situation? I'm afraid I replied answered very gently, very kindly, because probably she was not intending these out of sarcasm, But it was quite poetic. Say, sorry, I don't have a lighter. Why do you need a lighter? And she showed me a cigarette. She said, because probably this is the last cigarette I will be smoking. At that time,
that's quite profound, isn't it?
It was quite profound, quite cinematic. Actually, I felt like I was a movie or something, and it was quite deep. She wanted to enjoy the last cigarette.
So I guess at that point you still did not know if it's someone's gonna come and help you and rescue you, you are still waiting and you are still on this unknown.
Yeah, but eventually they came and noticed a group of people. And at that stage, I performed something that probably it changed the course of this events. Because on my orange life vest, we have a light on the side. This light starts flashing when you jump to the water. So it starts
So
flashing
you still have a contact with water.
when you have contact with water. Why? Because this little device can make you visible from airplanes as well. It's a tiny light, like a Christmas light, but it's very powerful because you can make you visible. Because the main issue was just that I need to make myself visible because it was pitch dark. But we were all dry, so we were still on the ship.
Yeah.
So what I did was I need to trigger the lights on the life vest, but I don't know why. So I came up with a very creative idea. I started spitting on the light, and the fourth or fifth attempt, it started finally. It started flashing.
Mhm.
Now I asked the people with me to perform the same. Would you please do the same? Because we need to make ourselves visible. This is an emergency. No one can see us here. Strangely, this was quite successful. And I don't know if from the moment my lights and other people's lights start flashing, an helicopter appeared after 20 minutes, or for some other reasons. I don't know. But a little miracle happened. An helicopter noticing this kind of Christmas tree from the sky, and they approached.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was because of me, but maybe this is a very unusual
Very possible. Yeah.
coincidence.
Because it's night, as you said. It's night. It's happening. What, 3 o'clock in the morning? You said you were rescued from the boat, so it's quite late. And what happened? What happened next? Where did you end up? What happened to the rest of the passengers? Did everyone got rescued?
Of course, I don't know if anyone. Yeah, the majority. We at the end, the count of casualties was quite substantial. I was 32 victims. Among them, two friends of mine, two colleagues, my two musicians. But the majority managed to be rescued. And when I stepped on the mainland, on the port of the Isola del Giglio, this beautiful island in the middle of the Mediterranean, not so far away from Tuscany. It belongs to the region of Tuscany in Italy. So when I stepped on the mainland, I say to myself, "This is the beginning of literally my second life," because it was more than an adventure. This is what I recall. Of course, there are millions of details about this evening, this event. But above all, I think that I'm very lucky. I managed to survive.
So the second chapter is, how did you end up in London? What happened for you there?
Well, the aftermath, of course, I found myself on the edge of a nervous breakdown because I lost my sleep, and I was always very nervous, anxious, depressed, of course. And I was.
You said to me you were diagnosed with the post-traumatic stress disorder, right?
I was diagnosed with the post-traumatic stress disorder, of course. Yeah, it was hell. It was not easy because I lost my sleep. I couldn't cope with also the sense of the survivor's guilt. I lost two friends of mine. I say, why me? Why them and not me? I mean, and I had my stage partner actually on the ship. We were more than 20 musicians, 20, 25 musicians, I don't remember. And I've been always performing, working as a soloist. But you might happen to be sharing the very same stage with someone else. So in this case, I was sharing the stage with an Hungarian string trio, and I knew these people from previous countries. And at that time, when I jumped on the ship, if you remember, I started 9 to perform my piano show. In this case, was according to my working schedule. That my slot of 45 minutes, 50 minutes on stage was at that time. Why? Would have been the other way around because he was on a day, changing on a daily basis.
So you could be resting on the lower part of the ship rather than being on the stage.
This is what happened to my fellow musician, my colleague, my stage partner, that he was on break. And so he went downstairs where all the passengers, all the stuff cabins are, and unfortunately lost his life. So I'm just thinking.
Did you manage to recover his body? Was his body found? Did you manage to reconcile in any way with that loss?
Well, you're asking if his body was found.
If you managed to reconcile with the loss, like knowing that at least
reconcile.
Yeah.
Well, it took some time. Now I'm in a different stage in my life, of course, and sometimes wash things, clears things. But of course, if I just connect with this memory, it breaks my heart all the time. It was not only one fellow musician; it was two people. Easily could have happened to me. So in the aftermath, as I said, I had some issues. I was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. So I decided to change my life and start from scratch.
Start fresh.
So I moved.
You also mentioned to me that you did not wanted to take any medication. You decided not to. You decided against any. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. If there's something that scares me to death, frightens me, is to lose control of my thoughts. And all these kind of drugs, they were meant to be controlling my feelings and my thoughts.
So your emotions to calm down, to suppress maybe potentially this.
Suffocate and put me asleep and be quiet. So I rejected the treatment and I prefer to do my own way. So I crafted a method. Well, it was not intentionally crafted, of course. So I improvised something. Say, let's start from scratch and let's go to London and start from scratch. So intentionally.
Can you tell us about London? What's the crafting? What was your intention? What did you try to?
I belong to a working class family. So typical working class heroes, baker and bus driver. So I say this must be very similar to what my family is working. If I will start physically challenging myself, committing to something physical, I will end up at the end of the day tired. So in order not to think, I thought that I had to be under a physical pressure. So this is the reason why I started looking for a job as a waiter because I couldn't play the piano anymore, and so it was quite difficult for me to engage in something that I did not want to anymore.
Well, I guess it was very strongly related to, your life on the ship, I guess.
Yeah, because my job was just playing the piano and connecting myself and the rest of the world through emotions.
Through emotions, yeah.
Triggering this emotion would have been very dangerous for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe. I couldn't. I was very anxious and depressed. So I said to myself,
Mhm.
let's just put this down and let's start off somewhere else where no one
Mhm.
knows me, no one knows my story. I want to be totally anonymous, in the middle of nowhere, starting from scratch as a waiter. So
Yeah.
I found a job as a waiter. I could speak a bit of English, of course, and I started handing fake CVs where I'm sorry, I was desperate. And on my CV, it showed that I was a professional waiter.
Let me tell you one thing. No one is a born waiter. I mean, no, other way around. We're all born waiters. This is one of the simplest jobs you can do. The people,
Yeah,
think it's some sort of rocket science, but if you're coming from the honest space, you would like to know what you're going to be doing.
yeah, this is very true. But honestly, I had never worked as a waiter before. Only few experiences of a couple of weeks when I was much younger. So I found a hospitality business company looking for waiters. And so I did the interview. It was successful, and they hired me at the Victorian Albert Museum.
Yes.
So I had never been there. Actually, it was a. I said, what a lucky strike. Actually, I'm working in a museum. I'm always an art lover.
Mm-hmm.
And so they told me, they gave me some instructions about my job descriptions. So
Your
I started
duties.
my duties, of course, once again. And of course, my job description was just pushing trolleys out, cleaning, moving tables. And but then a second miracle happened, that the very same place where I did not choose to be, it was just a random thing.
Mm-hmm.
I could have been
Just that the
sent.
universe didn't let you to fully leave your life behind, didn't it?
Well, probably this is very evident, and I happen to work in. I happen to be working in a place where, in the middle of my working space, there was a piano, and there was a guy playing this piano. I had to clean the piano before he started playing, and I said to myself, this is not fair. I didn't want to play the piano anymore. Now I'm seeing
The
and
piano.
bump to a piano
How was that
game.
for you? Because when I read that in your book, when I listened to your obviously the interview that you did on BBC, how was it? How was that? Having all this experience, being a musician and pianist and very successful pianist, you suddenly ending up touching an instrument which is the almost like part of you, is the extension of you, right? This instrument that gives you this energy. How
Yeah,
was
it's
that
true.
for you to touch something that you actually don't want to have anything to do at this very moment with?
It was very strange. It was a very strange coincidence, and it gave me the goosebumps, shivers down my spine, of course. And at that time, it triggered another kind of set of emotions that I had to break something
Mm-hmm.
into other pieces. My life was already into pieces, but this, to me, was meaning that I had the urgent. It was a kind of urgent thing to do, break into something different. So I had to break this kind of spell. It was like someone. I felt like someone cast a spell on me. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to play the piano. I'm putting the piano before your eyes, so you learn.
Yeah.
You need to
Mm.
show some kind of reaction. So after a couple of months working as a waiter, not telling anyone who I was or where I came from, I had the courage to approach my manager and tell him the story. I say, sorry, I'd like to confess you something. I'm not a waiter, of course. And he replied, who may you be? I say I'm a pianist. Yeah, sure, of course. If you are a pianist, I'm Robert De Niro, of course. And yeah, this is what he said. They say, if you are a pianist, why don't you play the piano? Because I have a very long story to tell, but I don't want to tell you my story. Can I have a go? I found the courage to ask him, can I have a go at that piano?
Mhm.
Say, well, we already have a pianist there,
Mhm.
so today is not possible. If you come tomorrow, you finish your shift as a waiter, you finish, you just present yourself well, the jacket, you shave, and yes, you show me how good you are. And then in the back of my mind, I'll be thinking, and I will keep an eye on you. All right, the very same day, I mean, the very next day, I finished my shift. I was shaking as a leaf like this.
Mhm.
And after
Well, how
months,
how does that make you feel now when you speak about that? That's the
of course, very
because I feel a
emotional.
little bit emotional. I
It
feel
was very,
emotional.
at that time, it was very difficult to keep control actually, because I was breaking into tears. This brought me to tears actually, but no one, the room was full, but no one knew that I had the story and all these kind of very strange past. So I started playing, and as soon as I finished, I started a round of applause, and the manager, after my short performance, called me to his office, and he told me that meantime they had some nice feedback from customers, at the VNA, and he was offering me a position as a resident pianist.
Mm.
So as soon as I laid my fingers on the piano, I became the resident pianist of the Victorian Albert Museum, which is a position I'm still holding after
Yes.
12 years. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But he told me, I still remember, you will be finishing your shift as a waiter, and then you get changed in the changing room, and you start working as a pianist, because we don't have a replacement for you at the moment. So you need to work as a waiter during morning hours. And I had this strange life for a couple of years, maybe 3 years. In the morning, I was working as a waiter with my apron and my cap and everything, cutting sandwiches and taking tons of rubbish out. And like in
In the
Superman
evening,
movies,
like a Cinderella,
or Superman in my case. So people who would just notice me,
she's a little bit more glamorous, I would say. So it's more of
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
between Superman and Cinderella.
So I started becoming familiar. My face started to become familiar with the regular customers.
Oh, people were getting confused. Like, wait a minute, this guy.
Yeah, yeah. There was actually a couple from South Kensington. They approached me once, and I was playing the piano. They approached me and say, "Congratulations, they appreciated my music." I said, "Sorry if I ask you, but this morning we noticed someone who must have been your twin and who served us our salmon salad and the sandwiches and blah blah blah. Are you? Where are you from?" I say, "I don't know. I come from Italy." I pretended it was not me. So I played around this
You
kind of
play the games.
situation, very kind of very very humoristic situation. And at the end, I told the lady, "It's me, it's me. I'm a waiter in the morning, and I'm a pianist." This has been
Music
my
won. The music won. The music persevered.
yeah. So as I always love to say, there was a time when I was off to see the world, crowning my childhood dream, like learning the languages, traveling the world, playing the piano. I say to myself, and I got the position as a resident pianist, sitting in this beautiful museum like a safe harbor, like a safe port. And I'm the captain of my ship. The ship is piano. And people are coming to see me now. Before I was off to see the world, now is the world coming to see
To
me.
see you. Beautiful.
So this is the story more or less. I try to reduce this into, I don't know, maybe almost an hour and something. But It's full of details, beautiful details,
Mhm.
and some, well, I should say, human details. This is the story of a man who miraculously survived a horrifying accident
Mhm.
and trusted.
As I say,
Yeah,
everything happens for a reason. You're supposed to
I
be
don't.
here. I
Yeah,
know.
and
I know that everything happens for a reason. You still had a mission, you see,
I
to
still have
accomplish.
yeah, most likely is something that I learned to trust. And uh, literally, as I wrote in my book, music literally saved my life because not only because during the fatal moment of the shipwreck, I was playing the piano. So had it been the other way around, where I was having a break, I wouldn't be able
You wouldn't be
to
here.
tell the story. This is the reason. For the first reason. The second one is that in the aftermath, after the accident, music saved my life for the second time because it kept my mental health at bay,
Yes.
safeguarding my life and my mental health. It's a very simple. There's no sophistication about this. It's a very simple story.
Music
That's
saves
it.
your life, and you're alive.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm still carry on sharing my story because this is helping me to relieve myself and hopefully other people going through difficult moments in their lives. And the final, if I need to pull the line, draw the line, it would be just have always hope, trust yourself, trust life. Because as we say in Italian, la vita è bella, life is beautiful.
La vita bella. Life is beautiful. Trust yourself and trust life. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Gosia. Thank you for having me and for this opportunity to deliver
Mhm.
this very special story.
Thank you. I much appreciate it, but thank you for being a part of my journey as well.
Pleasure.
And where can we find you? What is your work? Where can we find you?
Well, after 12 years, I moved from London, but I'm still working in London. Once per week at the Victoria and Albert Museum, my beloved working place. So you can find me there on Thursday from 3 to 5. Please, if you are nearby, come and say hello to me. It's free admission, and we can have a chat or a cup of coffee. Otherwise, I'm also working in Liverpool here, and I'm a concert pianist, so possibly, occasionally, I travel and tour with my project, with my original project. All the informations are on my website.
On your website. I'm going to put all the information about your website and your book in the description.
Thank you.
And I invite everyone to see Antimo playing in the Victoria and Albert Museum. I already had the chance to do so, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And it's always beautiful atmosphere there in this gorgeous, space and this coffee space. Okay.
Thank you very
I
much
don't.
for Gosha. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for the information you're sharing about me. It's an honor, and I really
Sure.
hope I'll carry on sharing what I do through my music, my words, and once again, very thankful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you very much.
your bravery for sharing this story yet again, once again, with myself and hopefully with whoever's going to be able to watch that and listen to this beautiful, tragic story that reshaped your life, but also kept you alive. It gave you new life. It gave you new opportunity to experience life in a very, very different way.
Yeah. A fresh new start. Yeah.
Fresh new start. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.